I cooked in a diner for 40 years, and these are the 10 dinners I actually make now that I'm the one eating alone. 1 pot, 1 burner, pennies a serving. And number 8, most folks forgot it exists, but it saved me more nights than I can count. Let's cook. 1. American Goulash. If you grew up in this country, you know this one before I even say the name. Beef, macaroni, and tomato, all in 1 pot. We made gallons of it at the diner, and it never once came back to the kitchen unfinished. Here is everything you need. 1/2 pound of ground beef, 1 cup of elbow macaroni, a can of tomato sauce, a can of diced tomatoes, and about 2 cups of water or broth. Start by browning the ground beef in a large pot over medium heat. Break it up with your spoon as it cooks, and let it get some real color on it. That browning is flavor, so don't rush it. Pour off the fat. If you have 1/2 an onion, chop it and let it soften right in with the beef. That little bit of onion makes the whole pot taste deeper and sweeter. Now the part that saves you a second pot. Pour the dry macaroni straight in. No boiling it separately, no draining, no colander. Add the tomato sauce, the diced tomatoes with their juice, and the 2 cups of water. Season it with Italian seasoning, garlic powder, black pepper, and a tiny pinch of sugar if the tomato tastes sharp. Give it a good stir so the pasta is under the liquid. Bring it to a gentle simmer, put the lid on, and let it go about 15 minutes. Stir it once or twice so nothing sticks to the bottom. The macaroni cooks right in the sauce and drinks up all that tomato and beef flavor. When the pasta is tender, turn off the heat. Now stir in 1/2 cup of shredded cheddar and watch it melt into the sauce. That cheese pulls the whole thing together. Want more vegetables? Stir in a handful of frozen peas at the end. Some families always finish their bowl with a spoonful of sour cream, and I won't argue with them. It reheats beautifully, and honestly, it tastes even better the next day. 1 pot, 1 spoon to wash, and supper for 3 nights. 2. Chicken and dumplings. This is the one that feels like somebody still cooks for you. Tender chicken, thick broth, and soft, pillowy dumplings, all from 1 pot. You need a couple dollars worth of bone-in chicken, thighs or drumsticks, 1 onion, a stalk or 2 of celery, and a tube of refrigerated biscuits or some biscuit mix. Put the chicken in a large pot and cover it with water. Add the chopped onion, the celery, a good pinch of salt, and some black pepper. Bring it to a simmer and let it go gently, about 40 minutes, until the meat wants to fall off the bone. Don't boil it hard. A quiet simmer keeps the meat tender. Lift the chicken out and set it on a plate to cool for a few minutes. Pull the meat off the bones with 2 forks. It should come apart with almost no effort. Drop the meat back into that golden broth. Now the dumplings, and here is the easy way. Cut refrigerated biscuits into quarters, or stir biscuit mix with a little milk into a soft dough. Drop the pieces right into the simmering broth one by one. Put the lid on tight, and here comes the only rule. Do not lift that lid for 15 to 20 minutes. The steam is what makes them puff up soft and pillowy. When you finally open the pot, they've doubled in size and soaked up all that chicken flavor. They almost melt on the tongue, which is a blessing on days when chewing is hard work. Want vegetables in there? Add sliced carrots to the broth while the chicken simmers, and they turn soft and sweet. A single pot of this lasts nearly a week, and every time you reheat a bowl, the kitchen smells like someone is taking care of you. 3. Depression stew. We had a regular at the diner, a steel worker, who told me he lived on this for years. Ground beef, potatoes, corn, and tomatoes, all in 1 pot. It fed families through the hardest times this country ever saw, and it still works today. Brown 1/2 pound of ground beef in a large pot and pour off the fat. You don't need much meat here. The potatoes and the corn do the heavy lifting, and that's exactly how this meal stretched a tiny budget so far. Dice 2 potatoes. Leave the skins on. It saves your hands some work, and the skin adds a little extra fiber. Add the potatoes to the pot. Pour in 1 can of diced tomatoes with the juice and 1 can of corn, drained. Add just enough water or broth to barely cover everything. Season with salt, black pepper, and a little garlic powder. Bring it to a simmer, cover, and let it cook about 25 minutes until the potatoes are soft. Now here's the old trick. Take your spoon and mash a few potato pieces against the side of the pot. Stir them back in and watch the whole stew thicken up into something hearty instead of watery. No cornstarch, no flour, just the potato doing its job. The corn adds a little sweetness, and even the cheapest ground beef turns this into a real meal. No beef, use ground turkey. No corn, use peas or mixed vegetables. A handful of shredded cheese on top makes it feel like a treat, and a slice of soft buttered bread turns it into a full supper. One pot costs a few dollars and holds you for 3 or 4 days. That steelworker knew what he was doing. 4. Smothered pork chops in onion gravy. Now this is pure diner food, and I must have made 10,000 of these. Cheap, thin pork chops, smothered in a simple onion gravy, all in one skillet. Buy the thin-cut chops. They're cheaper, they cook in minutes, and they're easier to chew. Season 2 chops on both sides with salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Heat a little oil in a skillet over medium heat. Lay the chops in and let them get golden, about 3 minutes aside. Don't move them around. Let them sit and brown. Take the chops out and set them on a plate. Now look at that skillet. Those brown bits on the bottom are the whole secret of diner gravy. Slice 1 onion and drop it into the same skillet. Let it soften and pick up all that flavor, about 5 minutes. Sprinkle a spoonful of flour over the onions and stir it around for a minute. Now slowly pour in 1.5 cups of broth or water, stirring the whole time. Watch it turn into a smooth brown gravy right in front of you. Slide the chops back in, spoon the gravy over the top, and put the lid on. Let them simmer gently for about 10 minutes. The chops turn fork tender, and the gravy soaks into every bite. Serve it over rice, mashed potatoes, or just a slice of soft bread to catch the gravy. No pork chops. This works the same with chicken thighs. 1 skillet, 1 burner, and it tastes like you stood there all afternoon. You didn't. 5. Sausage and cabbage pot. Here is the whole shopping list. 1 head of cabbage, 2 smoked sausage links, and a pot of water. That's it. And smoked sausage keeps in the refrigerator for weeks, so this is the dinner you can always pull together on short notice. Quarter a small head of cabbage and slice it into thick ribbons. And if your hands are tired today, skip the knife. Just tear the cabbage or buy a bag of coleslaw mix and pour it straight in. Nobody's checking. Slice the sausage into thick coins. Put the cabbage and the sausage into a large pot. Pour in about 1 cup of broth or water. Season with black pepper, paprika, and garlic powder. Put the lid on and let it simmer, 30 to 40 minutes. That's it. That's the whole recipe. The cabbage turns silky, soft, and sweet. The sausage flavors the entire pot, so you don't need a big portion of meat. And it's all easy to chew, easy on the stomach, and warm all the way down. A head of cabbage costs less than $1 and feeds you for days. Want it heartier? Add a sliced potato or 2. A little mustard on the side, or a sprinkle of shredded cheese on top, dresses it up nice. It keeps well in the fridge, so 1 pot covers several easy suppers. Honest food that asks almost nothing of you. 6. Potato and onion stew. 2 potatoes, 1 onion, a little butter, water, and salt. And somehow you get something creamy without a single drop of cream. This was the end-of-the-week miracle for anyone stretching a fixed income, and it still is. Slice 2 or 3 potatoes thin. Dice 1 onion. Drop them into a pot with a good knob of butter, or better yet, a spoonful of bacon grease if you keep a jar. That bacon grease gives it a ghost of smokiness that makes it taste far richer than it has any right to be. Add just enough water to cover. Salt, pepper, bring it to a simmer. Let it cook about 20 minutes until the potatoes are soft. And watch what happens. The thin potato slices start breaking down on their own, and they thicken the broth into something silky and rich. No cream, no flour. Just potatoes doing what potatoes do. Give it a gentle stir and mash a few pieces if you want it even thicker. A splash of milk at the end makes it creamier still. For a little protein, stir in a handful of shredded cheese or a chopped hard-boiled egg. A few crumbled crackers on top give it a nice finish. It's soft, soothing, and gentle on the stomach. This is the supper for the night when chewing anything feels like too much. And the best part? Potatoes cost pennies, and onions keep for weeks. So this one is always waiting in your kitchen, whether you planned it or not. 7. Poor man's chili. Not the fancy competition kind, the simple kind, the kind that lasts 3 days and tastes better on day 2 than day 1. Brown 1 pound of ground beef in a large pot and pour off the fat. Add 1 can of kidney beans, drained, 1 can of diced tomatoes, 1 small can of tomato sauce. Now the seasoning. Chili powder, a little cumin, garlic powder, salt, and black pepper. Stir it all together. If it looks too thick, add a splash of water. Bring it to a simmer, cover, and let it go about 30 minutes, stirring now and then. Listen to it bubble. That's the sound of the flavors coming together. The beans make it filling, the tomatoes keep it bright, and the beef gives it the backbone. If you're cooking for one, this is the smartest pot on this list. Make it once, eat it 3 nights, and it freezes beautifully for later. Want it cheaper? Use half the beef and an extra can of beans. Want more body? Stir in a handful of dry macaroni for the last 15 minutes and let it cook right in the chili. Serve it with a sprinkle of cheese and a few crackers. Or spoon it over rice and stretch it even further. It's soft, it's warm, and it is almost impossible to ruin. Even on your worst day, this chili comes out right. 8. Rice and canned chicken stew. This is the one I told you to wait for. The dinner you can make when you can't get to the store, with nothing fresh in the house at all. 1 can of chicken, 1 cup of rice, 1 can of cream of mushroom or cream of chicken soup, and water. That's the entire recipe, straight off the pantry shelf. Put the rice into a pot, open the can of chicken, drain it, and add it in. Open the can of soup, and scrape it in. Pour in about 2½ cups of water or broth. Stir it all together. Bring it to a simmer, put the lid on, and cook it on low for about 20 minutes until the rice is tender. Then open the lid, and look at that. Thick, creamy, and warm, like a chicken and rice casserole that made itself. And here is what I love most about this one. The canned chicken is already cooked. No handling raw meat with unsteady hands. No worrying about temperature. Just open, dump, stir, and wait. I kept my pantry stocked like a bunker my whole life, and this meal is the reason why. It never once let me down. Add a handful of frozen peas for color if you have them, and for a little crunch, crush a few crackers or potato chips over your bowl, the way folks have finished this dish for 50 years. When energy is low and the fridge is empty, this is the dinner that shows up for you. It reheats well for lunch the next day, too. 9. Salmon patties and gravy. 1 humble can of salmon, and it turns into a warm, old-fashioned supper with gravy, all in 1 skillet. Open the can of salmon and drain it. Empty it into a bowl and mash it up with a fork. Those soft little bones, mash them right in. Don't pick them out. That's real calcium, the kind doctors keep telling us to get more of for our bones. Add 1 egg, a few crushed crackers, and a little chopped onion. The egg and the crackers hold everything together, so don't skip them. A little black pepper, and that's all the seasoning it needs. Mix it up and form it into a few patties with your hands. Heat a little oil in a skillet. Lay the patties in and fry them until they're golden on both sides, a few minutes per side. Set them on a plate for a moment. Now, in that same skillet, sprinkle in a spoonful of flour. Stir it into the drippings. Slowly pour in a cup of milk, stirring the whole time until it thickens into a simple white gravy. Slide the patties back in. Spoon the gravy over them, cover, and let it all simmer 5 minutes. The patties stay soft and easy to eat, and the gravy makes it feel like a real Sunday dinner. Serve it over rice or soft bread, and one can stretches into 2 meals. No salmon, canned tuna works exactly the same way. A squeeze of lemon or a pinch of dried dill brightens the gravy if you have it. A side of peas rounds the plate into a complete dinner. Cheap can, real supper. 10. Chicken thighs and rice pot.
We finish with the richest dinner on this list, and it comes from the cheapest part of the chicken, thighs. The forgotten cut, often half the price of breasts, and twice the flavor. Season 4 chicken thighs with salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Heat a little oil in a large pot. Lay the thighs in, skin side down, and let them brown, a few minutes per side. Hear that sizzle. That's flavor going into the pot. Take the thighs out for a moment. Pour 1 cup of rice right into the same pot. Add 2 cups of chicken broth and scrape up every browned bit from the bottom. Those bits are gold. Now nestle the thighs back on top of the rice. Put the lid on tight and simmer on low for about 30 minutes. While it cooks, the rice drinks up every drop of that chicken-flavored broth, and the dark meat stays juicy and tender in a way chicken breast never will. That little bit of fat in the thighs is the whole secret.
If the rice looks dry before it's done, add a small splash of warm broth and cover it again. Add a handful of frozen peas or carrots for the last 10 minutes if you want some color. When time is up, turn off the heat and let the pot rest, lid on, for 5 minutes. Then open it. The chicken falls apart at the touch of a fork, and the rice underneath is rich, golden, and full of flavor. For anyone with a smaller appetite, this richness is the difference between picking at a plate and actually finishing dinner. 1 pot, 1 burner, and it looks like a Sunday roast. Closing. So there they are. 10 dinners, 10 single pots, and not one of them asks for more than you've got. 1 pot cooking isn't lazy, it's smart. It saves your energy, stretches your groceries, and cuts the cleanup down to 1 pot and 1 spoon. 40 years in a diner taught me a lot of things, but the biggest one is this. Simple food, made with a little care, can still take very good care of you.
Start with just one this week, the goulash, the chicken and dumplings, or that pantry stew from number 8. Let it carry you for a few days. And do me a favor, leave a comment and tell me which one you're making first. I read every single one. And subscribe so next week I can show you what else 40 years behind a stove taught me. Take care of yourself. Frank's signing off.